Welcome in to another episode of my Dynasty Fantasy Football YouTube. Today I have my 5 takeaway series covering 5 topics from week 7. So always make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Let's go. So the first topic, Travis Hunter delivered. And I did cover him as a Dynasty buy in the Friday video. He had a huge game in week 7. 8 catches, 101 yards, a touchdown on 14 targets. In contrast, Brian Thomas Jr., 3 catches, 31 yards on 7 targets. It wasn't nearly as good. Hunter finally became the wide receiver we wanted. We're seeing a change in Travis Hunter's usage. Season high, 87% snap share on offense, but just a 20% snap share on defense. This built on the 77% offensive snap share in week 6. He had 7 targets in week 6. So we are seeing it is a trend for Travis Hunter. It is getting better. It's coming together. And it makes sense that they're getting him more involved. Now, what can you do about this? So Hunter was a buy on my Friday video. I helped people in the Patreon execute many trades for Travis Hunter this past week. I did. I helped them do those trades. Now it's too late to buy Travis Hunter because honestly, I think people are going to go way too far and say that Travis Hunter is the Dynasty wide receiver 1, which he's not for me. So you had your chance to buy Travis Hunter. It's now too late to do that. However, I do think that Brian Thomas, we're going to have an overreaction with Brian Thomas in the other direction. People are now going to say that Brian Thomas is horrible. And Brian Thomas is not horrible. It is not possible for a player as a rookie to have 87 catches, 1,282 yards, 10 touchdowns on 133 targets, average 75 yards a game, 5.1 catches a game, and be horrible. That is impossible. He would be the first player in 20 years to do this as a rookie and just be bad. That is not possible. So Brian Thomas is a very good NFL wide receiver. He's injured. He's struggling through it. We saw the shoulder issue come up this week. Brian Thomas would be the first player to be this good as a rookie and then just be a disaster in the Dynasty era. So people are going to overreact. They're going to say that Brian Thomas is now bad. They're wrong. Brian Thomas is good. He had 8 catches, 90 yards, and a touchdown a week ago. People have very short memories. It's great that Travis Hunter is breaking out. I like that for him. But to say that Brian Thomas is just now bad is, we have a goldfish, memory of a goldfish. So I'm sure this week I'm going to be in the Patreon helping people buy Brian Thomas. You bought low on Travis Hunter last week if you were a patron. Now you can buy low on Brian Thomas. This is what we do. We buy low on talented players that we have belief in. Now, the next topic, and this was not good. TreVeyon Henderson was completely benched. Up until this week, Henderson was the backup to Rhamondre Stevenson, but was still involved. This week, things changed. He had 2 carries for 5 yards, no targets, and a 13.8% snap share. He wasn't involved at all. He didn't even get the garbage time work. That went to Terrell Jennings, who, I got to be honest with you, I am not sure that I had really heard of. I mean, maybe I'd heard the name, but I don't know anything about Terrell Jennings, and he was getting garbage time work. So I don't like that. I don't like that at all. And I will say that, again, I'm sure this is going to come up in the Patreon. What do you do if you have TreVeyon Henderson? Honestly, I don't know anymore. I don't know what you would do. You could sell low, but you're not going to get anything. No one wants him. I don't know if I'm buying low. I don't really believe, again, something I talk about a lot in the Patreon, I don't really buy low on running backs in the same way I do receivers. So it is what it is, kind of, with TreVeyon Henderson. But the one thing that is obvious is to sell high on Rhamondre Stevenson. I don't buy it at all. Not even a little. Stevenson had 18 carries, 88 yards, touchdown, 2 catches, 0 yards on 2 targets. It's his first game over 54 rushing yards all year. The only game he looked really good. Despite having a lot of work, he had fewer than 20 rushing yards in 4 of 7 games. Not 30, 40, or 50. Fewer than 20 in a majority of games. Averaging 3.6 yards per carry in 2025. I talk about this a lot on the Patreon. I just talk about this a lot in general. One running back being bad doesn't make the other guy good or someone that we want. I don't want Rhamondre Stevenson. He is bad, really bad, fumbling, terrible. bad. He is a bad player. Henderson also struggling doesn't make Rhamondre Stevenson good. This is a thing. It is very hard for people to comprehend. Very difficult for people to do that. Now, is that a commentary that maybe Henderson is really not good if he's not better than a bad running back? Yes, that is something interesting to look at. But just because Henderson is having his own problems does not mean that I want Rhamondre Stevenson. Does not mean that I believe in Rhamondre Stevenson at all. And if you can sell for almost anything, I would do that because Rhamondre Stevenson is not it. This is not like some of the other running backs who are producing who are maybe okay or maybe even good. Rhamondre Stevenson is bad. So get rid of him immediately. Now, let's move on to something a little more positive. Oronde Gadsden. And I talked about Oronde Gadsden as a stash on the Patreon like in June. So I've been talking about him a long time. If you're a patron, you know that I've been talking about him for a while. And he's legit. I mean, it is last week. I was a little not sure. We have to see. This week is different. 7 catches, 164 yards, and a touchdown on 9 targets. I mean, you sometimes have tight ends who don't have a game in their career this good. You can't have 164 yards as a tight end in the NFL if you're not good. That's not possible. So even with 55 pass attempts for Justin Herbert, the targets, 9 targets, that's great. I mean, it's not a super high share on 55 pass attempts. It was great that he had that, but it's the yards. The yards, the catches, the touchdown. Tight ends just don't produce like this. And they don't do it 2 weeks in a row. 7 catches for 68 yards and 8 targets in week 6. It's not like there was a tight end who was injured and then Oronde Gadsden replaced him. Will Disley and Tyler Conklin are healthy, but Gadsden has just relegated them to the bench. Those guys have been benched for Gadsden. He's running almost all of the routes. And this week, Quentin Johnston was back and Gadsden still produced. So last week he did it with QJ out. This week he did it with QJ back. So I'm in on Gadsden. I am believing that Gadsden is a legitimate tight end. For where exactly that values him, that's a conversation for another day. But this wasn't a 1 week blip in week 6. This is now real. As for what to do, I don't know what you do with Gadsden, but the one player I just find it hard to believe is Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen is 33 years old and was slumping in the previous 3 games. This week, he delivered 11 catches, 119 yards, a touchdown on 14 targets. He delivered. He was really good, but he hadn't crossed 5 catches or 58 yards in the previous 3 games. Now Gadsden is emerging. They're complimenting Trey Harris. QJ is back. Is Keenan Allen really going to deliver valuable numbers the rest of the year? I love Justin Herbert. He's not going to have 55 pass attempts or 420 passing yards in most games. He's averaging 273 passing yards and 39 attempts a game. Now, that's a lot. I don't think even that is sustainable. Not the 39 attempts anyway. But 420 yards, 55 pass attempts, that is not normal. That's not going to be the regular fare. And if all of these players are splitting up 273 passing yards and 39 passing attempts, we're not going to have this type of production from Allen on the regular. So if this is your opportunity to get out from Keenan Allen, he's the one where I'm like, feels like it's more of a short-term asset and I'd like to move on. And I wouldn't be surprised if down the stretch, Keenan Allen kind of fades like we were seeing over the past 3 weeks. Now, if you like my YouTube content, you should sign up for the Patreon. I'm offering a 50% discount off your first month at all tiers using the code TylerYT50. You can click on the link top right corner, patreon.com/fantasy advice. Use that code at checkout to sign up for the Patreon. You can get all my rankings, including weekly start sit and dynasty rankings, access to the Discord where I discuss all of these topics and more topics in more detail. Write-ups where I discuss, right now I'm doing write-ups on every single game, every team. So I cover every dynasty relevant player every single week. So I cover everything. Patreon-only videos, direct message fantasy advice, and the ability to ask in advance questions for the YouTube videos. Tiers begin at just $6 a month, $3 with the discount. If you want to know more about the Patreon, check out my Why You Should Join the Patreon videos on the channel. They're on the homepage under Patreon promos. And again, I'm offering a 50% discount off your first month to try it. I am doing more. I mean, I'm doing the write-ups. I'm doing the community aspect of Discord, but more will be on the Patreon. That is where it will be. I've tried to get away from the feeling that I need to cover everything on the YouTube channel. I've taken a different approach, covering things where I have more to say or that I'm more passionate about or that I think make better content on the YouTube. But I do cover everything. I do. I cover everything, every piece of news, every game as it happens on the Patreon. I do cover it. It's just on the Patreon. So I've tried to take a little bit of pressure off myself on the YouTube and focus more on the Patreon. Now, again, if you want to sign up, patreon.com/fantasy advice, use code TylerYT50 for 50% off your first month. With that said, I'll move into my next topic. Now, my next topic is that Rashee Rice returned, and he was immediately the Chiefs' wide receiver 1. He came back from his 6-game suspension, and even though it's not like the Chiefs needed him in this game, he smashed right off the bat. 7 catches, 42 yards, 2 touchdowns on 10 targets. Now, 42 yards on 7 catches, that's not what we want to see. 42 yards on 10 targets especially. But target-wise, and targets are earned, he was the Chiefs' wide receiver 1 by a wide margin. He had a 29.4% target share despite playing just 40.7% of snaps. He was targeted on over half the routes he ran. So that's really good. That's over 50% target rate. He's the Chiefs' target hog. This is the role that Rashee Rice will play. He just came back in, waltzed right back in, and is back to the role he was before. Now, I'd like to see him be a little bit more effective, maybe getting a little bit more down the field, maybe run a little more variety of routes. That would be nice to see. But Rashee Rice is the wide receiver 1. That is what it is. I don't think that will change. And I think that's something that we have to look at. And I guess that was kind of the expectation. I mean, I said that going into this week, I expected Rashee Rice to come back in and be the wide receiver 1. Now, what do we do about the other players? I think people know what they have in Rice. So for me, Xavier Worthy, someone I'd consider buying low on. Xavier Worthy had 3 catches, 35 yards on 4 targets and a carry for 13 yards. I think, he ran by far the most routes of any Chiefs wide receiver. He was still involved. They got him involved with that carry. They're trying to get touches for him. But you saw Worthy went out with a shoulder injury. He was shaking his head on the sideline. There were other issues. There was that ankle injury with Worthy also a couple weeks ago. He's not healthy. Xavier Worthy is not healthy. And at the end of the day, Xavier Worthy is going to have utility in this offense, which is now passing more. He is a 22-year-old wide receiver with first-round draft capital who's shown success in the NFL. We saw last year down the stretch. I get it. Rashee Rice was out. Yes, that is true. But you still have to be good to produce in the NFL. You can't just be bad and produce. So Xavier Worthy is a good player. I'm not going to quit on him. Is Xavier Worthy probably just another Jordan Addison? Yeah, that's probably what he is. Maybe not even that good, but he is a good player. He has dynasty value. And if someone is now saying, well, because Rashee Rice is back, Xavier Worthy is irrelevant, I would disagree. And I would look at buying Xavier Worthy on the cheap. Now, one player I'm not buying, Travis Kelce. We went right back to the way it was in early 2024. They used Rice on all of these little short routes, everything that Kelce used to do. Kelce was discarded, completely discarded with Rice back. Rice works in the same part of the field, is far superior to Kelce. And unlike Xavier Worthy, who is 22, Travis Kelce is, 36? I'm not expecting Travis Kelce to bounce back or fix it. He is a touchdown dependent, big play dependent, low end, borderline tight end 1 now. So I guess I would say sell, but you can't. So I said panic. Panic is real. Travis Kelce, as long as Rice is healthy and in, is basically worthless. Honestly, that's kind of my take on Travis Kelce. Now, there were a lot of offenses I could have picked for the offense that didn't show up segment of the week. But I chose to discuss the Raiders offense because I've discussed the Jets before. I've discussed the Dolphins before a lot. I haven't talked about the Raiders as much. And I wanted to focus on them this week. So why don't we talk about them? Geno Smith, not good. 10 of 16 for 67 yards, 4.2 yards per attempt. The offense didn't move. Smith was benched for Kenny Pickett, who immediately came in and fumbled. It's not working. The Raiders have a week 8 bye. I honestly don't know if Geno Smith, Kenny Pickett, or even Aiden O'Connell coming off IR will start in week 9. I'm not sure. I guess it's still Geno Smith, probably, but I'm not 100% sure. Smith has been horrible. This Pete Carroll coming in, bringing in Geno Smith, it didn't work. We can write the obituary for that. So this will not be continuing next year. I don't know if Pete Carroll's going to be fired. I don't know if Pete Carroll's going to want to bring in a new quarterback, start over. If Pete Carroll's just going to resign, I don't know. But we're not going forward with Geno Smith. It's been so bad. He is done. Done, finished, over. So we can move on from Geno Smith in Dynasty. He's completely dead to me. Now, the rest of the offense. Trey Tucker, who is from 2 general managers and 2 head coaches ago, and easily could be a third one now, has become the wide receiver 1 on the team. 5 catches, 33 yards on 6 targets. He was the only bright spot. I use that very loosely because there were no bright spots in this game. But Trey Tucker is the wide receiver 1 among the young players. Among Trey Tucker, Dante Thornton, and Jack Besh, Trey Tucker is the wide receiver 1. He's been the wide receiver 1 of those 3 all year. Jacoby Myers has done little. And those among the young players, Trey Tucker is the wide receiver 1. He's the one that you want if you're picking 1. Now, Myers missed this game with multiple injuries. He may be on the way out the door. They're 2-5. Nothing is working. Myers is an expiring contract, demanded a trade before the season, didn't get one, doesn't belong here. He's not going to be here past the trade deadline, I don't think. So he'll be gone. So you'll be looking at those other 3 young wide receivers for the remainder of this year. Michael Mayer had a great opportunity this week to shine with Brock Bowers out, with Myers out. I thought Michael Mayer would have a huge game, but Geno Smith's disaster eliminated the possibility of that. 2 targets, 1 catch, 10 yards. He was out there every snap. I do think Michael Mayer could have more of an opportunity if Myers is traded. They'll play more 12 personnel. You'll see more of Michael Mayer, but you're stashing Mayer. He's looked good in his opportunities, but obviously when Brock Bowers is healthy, Michael Mayer is not relevant, startable. So you're stashing Michael Mayer for his role on a new team. But I'd rather have like Michael Mayer than say Ben Sinnott, who's never done anything. So something to consider. I was really hoping this would be the week for him to show something. Sadly, it didn't happen. But the big actionable thing, and I don't say buy because buying high-priced running backs, and you wouldn't, obviously on the Patreon, I talk about this a lot. Buying high-priced running backs is not my strategy. I don't do that. So I'm not saying necessarily buy Ashton Jeanty, but Ashton Jeanty really has not lost a lot of value to me. He has been pretty good this year for real life. This week was not good. 6 carries, 21 yards, 1 catch for 13 yards. But the Raiders offense was not even on the field. And when they did, they were constantly behind. It was not his fault that this didn't go well. And for the year, he hasn't been bad. 111 carries in 7 games is not bad. 445 yards, 3 touchdowns, 4 yards a carry, 15 catches for 86 yards, and 2 touchdowns. The passing game usage, I wish we saw a little bit more. But he's been good. I mean, he's been a workhorse running back. He's been a good running back. And just to provide one statistic, he's averaging 2.6 yards after contact per attempt, but just 1.4 yards before contact. Yards before contact is about the offensive line and the scheme. The team is doing nothing to open up anything for him. Jeanty is being hit behind the line constantly. But yards after contact is from the player. 2.6 yards after contact is an elite number. So Jeanty's been doing really well. He'd be having elite production with a competent roster. There is nothing wrong with him. Again, I hesitate to say that a running back at this price is a buy. But if there were one, and you can get Jeanty for a reasonable price you wouldn't be able to otherwise, I still believe in him. Nothing about my opinion about Ashton Jeanty has changed whatsoever. And the yards after contact per attempt show that he is, doing the most with very, very little. So I'll do the Patreon questions and then I'll wrap up the show. What's an era of the NFL you would have liked to play Dynasty in? Oh, I don't know. Maybe when there were more workhorse running backs. That would have been interesting to see how that affected strategy. So like the 90s, 2000s, that would be kind of interesting. I like the current era, but yeah, that would have been fun for kind of a change of pace. What do we make of the Vikings quarterback situation? Is JJ McCarthy a buy low? I don't know. I've never been high on JJ McCarthy compared to others. I've never seen what other people are saying. A lot of people were saying JJ McCarthy is elite or he's great, or I never saw that, never saw any of that. That's not in his college profile. I don't know what those people were talking about. For me, he was a mystery box. I thought he could be okay, but I was never high on him. So I'm concerned about JJ McCarthy. We're getting to a point of like, he hasn't done anything. We're a year and a half into his career and nothing has happened. Now, Carson Wentz is not their starter. So I don't know what they're going to do. QB play in the NFL is so bad, but I'm nervous. I'm nervous about JJ McCarthy. So I'm not sure I would say he was a buy low. Anyone can be a buy low if it's really low, right? But just generally, I'm not sure I would say that. What is considered for you to be too short of a time frame when considering dynasty roster moves? What's considered too long of a time frame? I'm not sure exactly what you mean by this, but the way I see it is kind of like pretty simple, right? In general, under most circumstances at this point, if your team is bad, I'm looking to rebuild. Now, a rebuild, retool, I generally, if the team is absolutely awful, I'm willing to say we're going to spend the rest of this year and all of next year fixing it. That's the longest it should ever take, like a year and a half of rebuilding. Most of the time, I say we kind of retool and try to compete again next year. I just write off the rest of this year and move on to next year. I don't think about 3 years from now. So that's, too far away. Too short? I don't know. I don't look at like the week to week schedule and say, well, I'm going to buy this player because I like the matchup, or I try not to get too bogged down in the micro because Dynasty is a long-term game. And you can sometimes exploit people who think of things week to week when they probably shouldn't. But that's kind of my answer to this question. Now, if you like the video, make sure to support the channel by subscribing, and don't forget to hit that new hype button to help the videos in the algorithm. Plus, hit that notifications bell so you can be notified about all my exciting content as it drops. Of course, if you want my best fantasy football advice, it's available on the Patreon. Dynasty content year-round, starts the content in season. You can sign up at the link, top right corner, patreon.com/fantasy advice. 50% discount at all tiers using code TylerYT50. Once again, every sign up helps support my independent content, and I appreciate everyone watching, and I'll see you all later.